Welcome back, folks. Brittany and Travis here for round 3 of our video series. Today we're going to be looking at timing, and that can mean a lot of different things. That could mean someone that's a morning person versus a night owl. That could be someone that's a now versus a later person, and really how that affects a relationship, especially when you're working together, maybe you're parenting together, living together. Those different schedules can there can be some impact there. So I'll kick it over to Trav to chat about a few things.
Great, thanks, Britt. And to add a little context to why we chose to speak on this is because this is actually one of the issues or topics that have caused the biggest amount of arguments in our past.
There's been some friction.
Yeah, here and there. With that said, though, most of it I would agree stems around the fact that as far as timing goes, Britt's more of a if I have 10 minutes yet, what can I do in those 10 minutes before I need to be to a place?
I like to think of myself as a perpetual optimist, that I can always get one more thing done.
Yes, and I'm a person, conversely, that if I'm there 10 minutes early, I almost feel like I'm already late. And that's how we both grew up. Knowing her family, obviously, now, but also my family as well. We both grew up that way, and it caused a lot of friction, not just between us, but also our other relationships that we had when we had to answer to why we're here or there or when we're going to be there.
Can you give an example of one friction, like argument that we'd have given those different personality traits?
Well, my family now, or at least they used to tell us when to be somewhere for a family gathering a half hour early because they knew our schedule. And that caused some angst amongst us, but in our whole relationships as well too, as I mentioned. So first thing is just be self-aware of it. Understand that you can change, yes, but deep-rooted, I'm going to be an early person, and she's probably going to be someone cutting close on time.
Touch late. And
to give each other a little bit of grace while we're working through that, but also to make sure what really helped us is to have a shared calendar, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So we both have a shared calendar on our phones. We can look in there and know exactly when, where, or who we're going to be with. It kind of keeps us in alignment. And the other thing that I really like to try to do to make sure we're on time is try to take out any barriers that I know might trip her up. So if there's something on her to-do list that's very simple, like do the dishes.
That's a tip, to-do lists.
For example, doing the dishes. If that's on her to-do list and she didn't get to it the night before, if I know we have to be somewhere by 10 a.m., she's going to do the dishes before we leave. And if that causes us to be late, that's probably going to be an issue with me. So just understanding, being self-aware of those things and figuring out ways to alleviate some of the fluff around it, and it's done wonders in our timeliness, but also just not causing fights.
Yeah, and from someone that is, I would like to say I get there on time or maybe a minute or two behind, which in his world is late. Something that has helped me is I give myself ranges of times. So for example, instead of saying I need to be there by 2:30, like that's a foregone conclusion, I'm not going to get there. But if I could say to myself, I need to be there between 2:15 and 2:30, just by giving myself that time range, I end up being early. Might not be by much, but I'm there. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is my expectation around certain tasks. So for example, a lot of things will pop into my mind and I'll immediately say, I'm going to do this right now. Like, oh, I really wanted to look up a trip to, Iceland. I'm going to do that right now. Or I noticed that the garbages need to be taken out. It's Sunday night. They come and pick them up on Monday. I might ask Trav, hey, Trav, can you take the garbage out? And he'll say, I'll do it later. And to me, in my mind, if I don't do it right now, it's not going to happen, right? Going back to that idea of the to-do list, if I can't do it now, I always write it down. But I have to give Trav the grace to know that how he operates isn't, I'm going to drop everything right now and fix the solution. he's doing something currently at the moment, his time is occupied, he will get around to it, and I have to be okay that it's not going to be on my schedule. That has been something I really had to learn. So that is just a couple things that we wanted to chat about in terms of timing. Figure out who you are, how you operate, and identify those possibly gaps in your relationship that someone needs to fill, whether it's you or your spouse. But it's certainly going to make a huge difference. So next week we're going to be chatting on some finances and housely budget, or having a budget for your home rather, and how to really stick to that. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next week.
Catch you next week.